from the buyer. Even though it was bought, there was a kinyan made. It's right, take away from the buyer, restore, pay the money, of course, because he has first rights, we didn't say that, as bar mitzvah. All these dinim, of course, are considered min ha-Torah. And min ha-Chachamim, the Gemara says it, but that's based on a posek in the Torah, Yasisa Yashu V'Ateh B'nei Hashem. You know what is righteous and good in the eyes of Hashem? These are things that a person could close his eyes to, but it is sinful. Righteous and good is to fulfill these mitzvahs the way Chachamim gave them to us, and that is doing what is good in the eyes of Hashem. To do what is good in the eyes of Hashem, always in the eyes of the words of the full words of Chachamim, and thereby Mezechet to see now. This tonight is the beginning of Chodesh Nisan, the month of the Geula, and we will see the coming of Mashiach in the Yerushalmi. Rabbi said today again is Chodesh Nisan, and it is a very special day. It is Arizal's birthday. It's something like Yortzeit. Why? Because the Gemara says that a tzadik is born and is nostalgic on the same day. Moshe Feinstein was born on Zayin Adar, and he was nostalgic on Zayin Adar. Very special day. In Arizal's case, he was born Chodesh Nisan, the moment of Geula. He was nostalgic on Chalamayit Sukkos, the Zman Simchas Seinu, which are both very parallel. So therefore today, again, Baruch Hashem, we were to be together. This minyan is a very special one today. Coming to the Chodesh, Arizal's birthday, Arizal's Slush, Megan, and all those who are here, and our Kala and Kulai. Which was Arizal's Slush, which is certainly enough. Bring Mashiach, Slush now, accumulate, together with all the tefillahs of the Jews, bring Mashiach now. This, today being a Chodesh, will deviate from the regular dinim, so we'll discuss a little bit of Chodesh, because of the fact too that, as I mentioned, Chodesh has the word relation, which means the Reish bias. Tzadik was the relation. But Arizal's teachings always were that a person should never be old. A person should always be this Chadesh, never be old. Never feel like you're in it too long, because then you begin to decay. Always begin anew every single day. Today I will begin to serve Hashem anew. The person starts, and koyach, how he puts into a fresh start, is much stronger, much more fervent, more chavruta, than if he's already in the item as a matter of habit. Therefore the Chodesh begin anew. Koyach of the tzadik, koyach of the Arizal. Then is that on the Chodesh, the mitzvah to eat a special suda, a little better than regular. It should be considered as a sort of a yom tov. So that if the person can, of course, he should eat a meat meal, not dairy, on a Chodesh, since it is a yom tov. And it is not a small yom tov. The Zohar Kodesh says that the fires of Gehenna are stilled on Shabbos. But it's only Shabbos. It requires a very high kedusha to stop the fires of Gehenna. So even on Yom Tov, there are still the fires of Gehenna burning. On Shabbos and on Chodesh, that is so special that even the Gehenna is still there. So we see in a certain respect that Chodesh is higher than Yom Tov. But yet we know that Yom Tov, Halacha is also Chodesh is not. The answer is that it's true that Yom Tov is holier. The fact is that Yom Tov depends upon the Chodesh. You cannot have Yom Tov without the Chodesh. In other words, you cannot know what Yom Tov is until you know what the Chodesh is. You have to know the calendar, what is the Chodesh, and we know the 15th day of that month is Pesach. 10th day of that month, the Tishrei, is Yom Kippur. But that's only if we first know what the Chodesh is. Everything is dependent upon the Chodesh, just as the days of the week are dependent upon the Shabbos. Therefore, the Chodesh parallels the Shabbos in this respect. Also, finally, Gemara says that it is a mitzvah for a person to visit a tzadik, visit his Rebbe. To visit the tzadik emes, of course, nowadays we don't have that possibility. When a person in Israel, for example, you'd be sure to take care of this. A person must visit his Rebbe on Yom Tov. Chayim, it says that Yom Tov and In this case, Yom Tov, not Shabbos. Yom Tov and the Rish Chodesh. Here, see, Rabbi Yom Tov, on Rish Chodesh too. So, therefore, now, this day, should the Arizal's Noach is with us, we have these, of course, having the Fakir, already the Tzadikim and so on the Shchodesh. The Shchodesh, it is disciplined to do work, to go to work, so there's no excuse today, especially since transportation is available. But it is customary that women do not work on the Shchodesh. And this is not to be taken lightly. This says, Ein Lohakilah. It is forbidden for women to take this lightly, to allow women to work, because this was a special gift. The Shchodesh is a Yom Tov. It is a major Yom Tov. However, this Yom Tov was given by Hashem as a gift to the women. This was very rewarding because they were the only ones who refused to participate in the making of a golden calf, a lazav. Therefore, because of that, Hashem said, I will repay you by giving you so important Yom Tov as the Shchodesh. A woman is not allowed to reject this or to belittle this. Therefore, women should strive very hard to avoid work on this day if they work, which woman works. Of course, in a household, it's not considered work, it's considered pleasure. To cook for a husband, to take care of the children, it's pleasure. That's not work even on Shabbos. In this case, though, we said it says, Ein Lahakil, you cannot take that lightly. On Rosh Chodesh, we say the Hallel, standing. This Hallel means a tefillah of praise. And again, it shows the importance of Rosh Chodesh. And it's said, half Hallel is said. And from Rosh Chodesh on, count off 3 days from the Moed Levana. And that's how we have a major mitzvah to Kaddish Levana. First, in the Kaddish Levana, 2 things happen. First of all, the Din says that he is assured of being saved from any kind of attack, accident, or harm. It's supposed to have Kiddush Levana in some way. Secondly, Kiddush Levana means that he attaches himself to the Shekhinah, just as the Levana is increasing in size, so too, and will increase in size, the size of the brightness of the sun, so too is the faith of Yaakov HaKotan. Avoda is called after Yaakov Avinu, after the Jews. The Jews too, who are small now in number, small in size, small in greatness and power, will increase and shine as the rays of the sun forever afterwards. This Shchodesh Nisan, again anew, serving Hashem, its truest kashrus to the Arizal, Israel. This not to see the coming of the Yerushalmi, Dias Moshe Feinstein, the building of the third, final, permanent, everlasting Beis Mikdash by Hashem. The next few weeks we're going to start learning in detail the Hilchos Pesach. Even though we have separate shurim on it, during the week too, the few minutes we have, it would be good to devote to the din of Pesach, the various side items that come up. First, they did it with the month of Nisan. The Shulchan, but it's good to review them and to let them sink in deeply, memorize them. The entire month of Nisan, since it is the month of the Geulah, the month when the Jews left Egypt, the month when they had the miracle of the Kiryas Yamsuf, the month when they were freed from bondage, from slavery, 210 years, or for 400 years, or 430 years, they were in Mitzrayim, which is the depth of Tumah. They came out free to go to Har Sinai to receive the Torah. Therefore, the month of Nisan is called the month of the Geulah, the month of Chedus, and that's why the entire month of Nisan is considered a holiday to a degree. Of course, the first 12 days of the Syrian leaders of the 12 tribes brought sacrifices in the Beis HaMikdash. Then you have the 7 days of Pesach, 8 here. The majority of the month is already considered a holiday. That's why we take the entire month. Since we can call it a holiday, therefore no tachnun is said. There's no tachnun during the week. There's no Koska, Shabbos to Mincha. It's a sort of a holiday in many other cases too. Plus the one thing though, there is, if a person gets married during this month, they do fast on Nisan, like even the Shchedesh Nisan too, because something happened on that month, on that day, which is considered a tightness for many people. So this is one item that is not exempt. Fasting for Chassid Kala, or for certain people who fast, of course, other items, like Chalim and so forth, it is permissible to fast. But of course, Erev Pesach itself, mitzvah to fast for the firstborn. Mitzvah to fast means they must fast, or they must have a Sudas mitzvah to excuse them from the fast. But, as we said, the entire month is considered a Yontif to a degree. The first 12 days, we say the Nasi, that one little paragraph which states the carbon the Nasi brought. Afterwards, we have a Yerushalmi, which states that if we are of that Shevet, we are not sure, therefore we should receive, say this, we should receive the Ha'orah, the light, condition that comes in that Shevet. Some people could say we are sure, but we're not from certain Shvatim, because after all, we know that the 10 lost tribes are not around. The 2 tribes that are here, Yehuda and Binyamin, are ones we might be from. The Kohanim and Leviim are from the tribe of Levi. So why should we say the other 10 Shvatim? Why should we say if we are from that Shevet? The Gemara says that even though the vast majority today are from the 2 tribes, but there were some of the 10 tribes that did escape, that did come back. One of the rabbis, the Gemara says, I am one of them, one of the great rabbis, the Gemara, who's always called, whenever the Gemara says the word Chassid, he refers to this rabbi. He was one who says a descendant of the Shvatim. At least it leaves us with enough of a doubt to say that, like the Gemara says too, about a person's Mekadesh, there was a Kedushin about it, 10 Shvatim. So we have enough of a doubt to allow us to say it, especially when there's no loss. What do you lose by saying? If we are that Shevet, we receive the light of that Shevet with this tefillah. If not, so we wait till the next day when we say the other one. Now time comes. Even those who are Kohanim and Leviim too, there could be so many, through the ages and centuries, so many possibilities of tarubas, mixtures that today we cannot really tell whether a person is really a Kohen or a Levi. That's fact, true fact, because we see by the Halacha. When it comes to Truma, we cannot give the Truma to a Kohen, because we're not sure this Kohen is a real Kohen, or there's a Kohen Torah, so on. So that's why there's no harm again, even for a Kohen or Levi to say it. No harm can be done by it. Some Kohen or Levi in particular, they wouldn't say the exact words. They'll say the whole thing without that exact word. Skip that one thing that may be shamed. Anyway, there's no harm in saying it, and we say for 12 days this Yerushalmi with the Pasha of the Nesiim. The 13th day, the 12th day, we finish the Pasha Seder Nosai. 13th day, we say the next Seder B'Halischa, again in one small paragraph, speaking about the Beneda. Beneda is the Chachma, Beneda Beneda and Chachma. That finishes off in the Nesiim because Nasi is also Chachma. So we have the 12 days, the 13th day, the 14th day, of course, already is the end of Pesach, preparation for the members of the Club Pesach. We speak of Pesach as the Korban Pesach. It cannot be taken lightly, because we said you cannot say the words "I'm buying this meat for Pesach," because the word Pesach means not just the holiday, but it means the Korban Pesach. And today, bringing a sacrifice outside of the Beis HaMikdash, or even any time, is considered a major crime, a major sin. So you cannot say the words for Pesach. And that's why, too, you recall during the Seder, when you have the Seder plate, you have the most important paragraph of the entire Haggadah. Rabbi Leo says, remember, does not say these three things on Pesach, Neshanei Chamosai. It's not get credit for the Seder. These are them: Pesach, Matzah, Umorah. Everyone knows that. It's three words by heart. Now, when we say Pesach, Matzah, Umorah, you have on the Seder plate, those are presented. You have the Zeraya, shank bone, which represents the Korban Pesach, a piece of the Matzah, and the Umorah. Each time you say, this paragraph you say, boy, this Matzah, you hold it up. This Umorah. But you cannot, if Hashem holds up the piece of shank and says, this Pesach, that is literally forbidden. The same reason we mentioned. Shulchan carving outside of Beis HaMikdash. This is, and you must be very careful with, knowing then that the 14th day represents the memory of the Korban Pesach. When we say Pesach al Shumra, why the Pesach? The memory of the Korban Pesach that was brought by our forefathers. We had the Beis HaMikdash because of the fact that we had the ness of leaving the bondage in Mitzrayim. The baking of the matzahs, which of course is the key to the whole Ikar mitzvah of Pesach, eating matzahs, should be left to those who are big Talmid Hacham, because it is so complicated that a person would dread to enter into the dinner if he wasn't fully learned. The best thing is if you know there is somebody who knows how, knows the dinner, relax, leave it to him, and get it done right. And today, of course, we are very blessed that there are a number of bakeries who have these Talmid Hacham who direct them, and who interest themselves in learning halachas, so that we have Baruch Hashem the knowledge we can rely completely on the Shmula matzahs that's baked today. It's down to Yerei Shemayim, those who have Yerei Shemayim, and those who produce matzahs that are proper and correct. Our job is only two things. Number one, to go to the expense of buying Shmula matzahs, and two, to eat the Shmula matzahs. The mitzvah of eating Shmula matzahs, above all, is the matzahs mitzvah. Of all the matzahs you eat in the entire Pesach, the most important piece that is eaten is that piece on which you say the two berachos of the Seder night. Menachem Mendel Schneerson and Aharon matzah. That piece, you take two pieces, you eat it then. That's the main mitzvah of Pesach. Once you eat it then, you perform the greatest, most important mitzvah of Pesach itself. The positive mitzvah. Negative, of course, is to avoid chumash, but the positive mitzvah is the most important one. That's like the Shefer on Rosh Hashanah, it's like the fasting in Yom Kippur, is that one piece of matzah at the Seder night. The Seder night, one in Israel, here we have, of course, two. Pesach, the Gemara says that there are different places that have different customs. For example, there are some places where the custom is not to do any work at all the entire day of Pesach, and there are some whose custom it is not to do work from noontime on. A person must follow the custom of his place. We have very little difference here. We do have another instance, there's a marked difference, and that is the second day of Pesach, or the last day of Pesach, where a person living in Eretz Yisrael, the last day of Pesach, works, goes to work, rides, eats chametz. And a person here, last day of Pesach, is outside of Eretz Yisrael, has a regular Yontiv, breaking the Yontiv, Chas Shalom, instead of breaking any other day, break any other Yontiv day, the seventh day, the first day, and Yisrael Chametz is just as strict, just as it is the first day. Certain items that were lenient there, but the actual essence of the din itself is the 8th day, the same as the first day, because the Gemara says that the din Rabbanon, the 8th day, of course, is din Rabbanon. The one added that because of the sake of the animal, down because of the day. The din Rabbanon is just as strict as the din Reisa. They gave chizuk to the man. Now the question is a person who travels from outside of Eretz Yisrael to Eretz Yisrael. He goes to Eretz Yisrael all his lifetime. He was accustomed to resting on the second day of Yom Tov, second and 8th days. It's called Yom Tov Sheni Shel Goliath, second day Yom Tov, which is only a Yom Tov in Goliath. It's a weekday in Israel. This custom was to always rest on that day, in addition to daven tefillahs of Yom Tov. Third, not to put on tefillin there. Here he comes to Israel, and that day is a weekday. Second day Shul is the day of Pesach. It's a weekday. Here he comes, and there's no more resting that day. There is no tefillin to be put on, and there's weekday Shemona Esrei. The point is that when he gets there, he just what custom must he keep? Here he's guided by the rule of Natei Lachzer, which means that if he intends to stay in Eretz Yisrael, the moment he lands on the shore of Eretz Yisrael, the moment he is zeichet to kiss the ground, he becomes a part of Eretz Yisrael. He drops all his former customs. Then he stands on that ground with the intention of remaining. He has to keep the rules as of Eretz Yisrael. No more second days Yom Tov. Person who has a shalom is what they call a yened, comes from Eretz Yisrael with the intention of settling in Chutz La'aretz. That person, the moment he stands on this hallowed ground of Tumas Amin, the Irish land, then he is required to adopt the customs of Chutz La'aretz immediately, which means that the second day Yom Tov becomes Yom Tov to him, but no longer weekday. Of course, the Yerushalmi says, strange, person going down from Eretz Yisrael, going into Golis, he has a Yom Tov, a holiday. Until now he was working that day, slaving away, and now he has a holiday. The Yerushalmi gives the answers to it. It's not time for it now, it's regular shir. But the point is that how is this determined? If his intentions are to make this stay permanent. If a person goes just to visit, purely to visit, nothing else, then his visit does not change his status. A person going to visit Eretz Yisrael, he's there during Yom Tov, he must keep the Yom Tov just as he does in Chutz La'aretz. A person going from Eretz Yisrael and coming to Chutz La'aretz, to America, for example, on the 8th day of Pesach, he's actually allowed to eat chametz, while all the rest of the Jews eat matzah only. If he can get chametz, of course he can get it, let's say, from a Goyish place. He can eat chametz, but in this case, though, it must be a seser. He is not allowed to show openly that he's breaking what the local yokels call, what to them is a Yom Tov. He is not allowed to show that he's different from them. He must hide the fact that he's eating chametz. He's not allowed to do work openly. He can't ride in a car, people should see him. He could do it only hidden where nobody sees. But the person going to Yisrael, of course, there's Shelah Tase, just doesn't do any work. And he tries to daven not to the regular shul because they find problems with the davening. But again, it's determined by the fact that the person has intentions of going back to his former place or not. He should be zeichet to go to Eretz Yisrael, to be Eilen and Chomer. Eilen and Chomer remain in Eretz Yisrael forever, becoming a Mashiach, and in this Mikdash Shemei Amen. In this Mikdash Shemei Amen. Hilchos Pesach, Hilchos B'dikas Chametz. Then is that before you start making the bedikah, this place, it is customary to place the 10 crumbs throughout the house, and they have to be collected. Before beginning, the bracha is made, Shekin Yishalom Mitzvah Al Biyah Chametz. Bracha Biyah Chametz means the destroying of the chametz, the burning of the chametz. We are first making a bedikah now. The bracha is made not al bedikas chametz for the beginning of the mitzvah, but biyah for the end of the mitzvah, because the mitzvah concludes with the burning of the chametz, the biyah. The biyah chametz means the destroying, or included in that too is the bigul chametz, which will take place completely the next morning. Still, the bracha, as we said, is made for the conclusion of the mitzvah, and then from the time of the bracha throughout the entire bedikah, so he finishes collecting all the crumbs, there should be no hefsek, as much as possible, between the bracha and the beginning of the bedikah. And surely it is no hefsek allowed, but if he did, there's a question of making the bracha over again. And it's best if possible, not to make hefsek at all, not to talk. The time that he begins the bedikah until the very end. He has collected all 10. he's concluded the search. If he has to search through a number of homes, different apartments, he can make one bracha for all of them combined. Now, again, the custom is, according to the Arizal, most people follow this custom, that they take 10 crumbs, they place it in different parts throughout the house, they go around with a candle collecting this. Why do they do this? Because they figure that if he's going to search for chametz, and if he makes the bracha and does not find any chametz at all, it means that his bracha is in vain. What's he going to destroy? Without finding chametz, there was nothing accomplished. The bracha would be no hatala. And therefore, they place these pieces of chametz around. It's certain that it will be medika nabiyah. However, if a person goes around just looking for these 10 pieces of chametz alone, which he knows are there, then again, the mitzvah has not been done, the bracha is levatala. The bracha is completely in vain because he's only kidding himself. The mitzvah is to go around and search for chametz. That's for what you just placed now. You're not searching for the chametz that is supposed to be found out, ferreted out. So what this person must do is, he walks around with a candle. He knows these are 10 different places. He goes to these 10 places, but as he walks along from room to room, he should use that candle to pass by the corners, the nooks, the crevices, and to seek any chametz that is there. Of course, if a good job was done cleaning the house, you will not find chametz there, so the bracha will be made for the pieces of chametz that you will pick up. It will make a big chametz on it. At least it will not be an unreal search, be a genuine search for chametz. The chametz which he leaves over because he wants to eat later, that he's supposed to put in the guarded place, and he's supposed to cover it, because otherwise you have a problem. You don't cover it, and you're not aware of it, and then see this happen. It's pretty rough when the wife leaves over the bread and the meal, other parts of the food, and she places the 10 crumbs around the house. The husband goes around with a candle. So he comes upon this food that was left over the meal. And he shoves the whole thing into the sack. She says, but, and he says, no buts. This should have been covered and set aside as a part which is not to be a closet and find a whole pit full of chametz and we'll clear out the whole thing. The whole place will go bankrupt. After the bedika is over, he's supposed to make Bitul, which means he declares null and void as not part of his shus, part of the property any longer, any chametz which he has not seen, and except that which he does know exists. The next day in the morning, after the burning of the chametz, he then makes again the statement declaring that any chametz which he has seen or not seen, he's aware of or not aware of, consciously or otherwise, everything becomes null and void and not his shus anymore. And if there is any crumb in the house, he's not considered the Eiver, it's not committing a sin of Vayirah Vayamatzah. He does not have any chametz that's his own property. If it is found, though, of course, we still must remove it from his house and burn it, if it's during Halacha, or if it's on the place itself, it's supposed to cover it. But what he does not see is no longer his responsibility. He is not the owner of any kind of chametz. Of course, as we stated very clearly, this does not mean that a person is free to be lax in the search of chametz because he'll make bitul. He still must do his best, put every effort into cleaning out the house entirely. See, there's no trace, no mashru of chametz whatsoever. The sechus will be zeva to the true removal of the search of isa, the chametz of the yishar, avedus, will be zeva to purity, kedusha, and mitzvahs. Which will be zeva to remove the search of the isa, and to see the kedusha, the place of mikdash. Yes, go say the name. Is Pesach a dinim of Erev Pesach? Erev Pesach we do not say Mizmor L'Seidah. That's next Wednesday morning, a week from today. There's 1 week left, a week from today is a Seder already. We do not say Mizmor L'Seidah after Baruch Shama, because it's the commentator that comes from Lachmei Chometz. We do not say Lam Natsayach before Balatzion because it is considered a Yom Tov. Chametz, of course, we explained already that it should be eaten only until early hour in the morning. Best, wisest advice is to get rid of all the chametz the day before and not to have any chametz in the house at Pesach at all. At Pesach, being a Yom Tov, is that it is forbidden to do any kind of work that day. A person should avoid going to work because it is a Yom Tov and he could not gain anything from it. The person who works, whatever he earns, the Gemara says he'll lose. Unless it's a David Haved, the same as Chalamed. So this refers to from noon time. It's from 12 o'clock on, all kind of work is asur. Until 12 o'clock, depends upon the custom, and the Amos says that it's better if you maintain a custom not to work in the morning also. However, it is permissible, though, for all day to do more work in the morning than afterwards. For example, taking a haircut, listen, only until noon. Cutting nails until noon. And of course, this is a must. At the end, the person should groom himself, prepare himself with the cutting their hair, because this is before Svida. You cannot cut your hair again until like Mela. So it should be done at the end, or there's no time, do it the day or two before. It must be done before Yom Tov. There's no chance to cut your hair afterwards. No haircuts are allowed from at the end in the morning. Like if a person is not able to cut his hair in the morning, then afternoon, he cannot cut his hair by a Jewish barber. He must go to a guy. The barber is a guy. You see that he is sort of trapped, because the thing is that a person should never take a haircut by a guy. He's forced to cut his hair by a guy only. These are all b'di'evet. The person should always strive to do the mitzvah properly in the first place. Cutting his nails, which should be done before Chatzos, if he forgot. He is allowed to cut his nails after Chatzos too. But the end of Pesach should be devoted entirely to preparation for Yom Tov. All of the preparations are clearly done already. The chametz is out. The chametz is burned in the morning. After breakfast or after davening, you take that little bag of chametz which was accumulated the night before, and take it out to have it burned. When you burn it, you then say, they call Chamida B'Chamiyah, where you make little chametz and all the balance, the rest of the chametz that was either seen or not seen or forgotten or anything. No matter all the possible crumbs that are around. On Erev Pesach, it is forbidden to eat matzah. Chametz, of course, is naturally asur, but matzah too is asur, because we can separate between the matzah chiyuv, Pesach, and the matzah and the shus. It's not obligatory for the rest of the year. So it is an Isra to eat matzah ahead of Pesach until the first piece of matzah is the matzah mitzvah the Seder night. There are people who have a custom not to eat matzah from the Chodesh Nisan, which means 2 weeks in advance, to sort of prepare themselves to build up an appetite for matzah. There are some who don't eat matzah from Purim, the full 30 days in advance. There are some who don't eat matzah from the 8th day of Pesach until the 1st day of Pesach. All for various reasons. But at least it is a must, it's compulsory, it's forbidden ahead of Pesach. The person should try to add to whatever he can to it. If possible, the 2 weeks to the Chodesh, if possible, at least that. Ahead of Pesach, it is customary for the Chodesh to fast. Fast, of course, nowadays nobody fasts, but it means that they are compelled to come to a siyum, at least to be freed, become exempt from the fast. Who is supposed to fast? Any firstborn, whether he is a firstborn son to his father or to his mother, which means if they remarried, it's the first son from the father's side is considered mechayev. If it's the first son from the mother's side, father had children before, they're still considered mechayev. Whether it's in the Chel Yerusha, the Chel Patanachim, in all cases they are required to fast on Pesach, even if it comes out of Shabbos or Friday. And even those who come after or born after a miscarriage. Generally, one is born after miscarriage is not considered mechayel. It's a very big shayla in Shulchan. In this case, the son born after miscarriage is considered mechayel in reference to the practice mechayelis. Because in Mitzrayim, in Egypt, when they killed the firstborn, they didn't question about the din of miscarriage, whether it was a child or not. They took every firstborn. In fact, there are some who say that the firstborn daughters also, the firstborn were killed without regard. The Malach HaMavis went around and really did a job. So, therefore, the firstborn daughters too have to fast. This is a machlekes in din, and the majority of posek say that since there is no kedusha at all, any kind from the chayda, they are exempt from fasting. It's easy to take part in the siyum if it's simply not. If the firstborn son is young, he's an infant himself, then the father takes over his place and he has to fast instead of him, which means that he goes to the siyum and he eats a piece of cake. So the whole thing is one piece of cake, which, of course, you have to listen to the siyum that you want too. It must be a genuine siyum, not a siyum learning a piltillim, or learning a psukim. To share about what constitutes a siyum, the best thing is a regular gemara. There are some places who say that a siyum on a small gemara is not considered a siyum. So you have to try to learn a gemara and finish it. If you cannot learn a gemara, then you can go to a siyum where it's taking place. And as the rule is, if you are at a suda of a siyum, take part in the last words of the gemara, and you get credit as though you've covered the entire gemara yourself. We should be zeichet to take upon ourselves all the kiruv and Buddha, the kedusha activity of Pesach, especially the obliteration, completely the eradication of the chametz and the yitzhara and satan, to adopt the true kedusha and the neshama that's required for us, and that's a chus we should see before the first Seder night. We should see the coming of Mashiach, the Beis Hamikdash, which will come Achishena with speed enough that we too can enter into the Beis Hamikdash and really come Pesach this year. Pesach, continuing the dinner we spoke about last halacha, Shiloh was the person who lives in Chutz La'aretz, goes to Eretz Yisrael before Pesach just to visit, and naturally he must keep all 8 days. Even though he lives in a city where everyone there are Israelis, he is alone, a yachid. On the last day of Pesach, he's not allowed to put on tefillin. He must daven the undertakers from Israel. They cannot do any malacha, any work. Though all around him, all Jews are going to work regularly. They eat chametz. He is an exception because it is that day lachsa. He intends to return to Chutz La'aretz. Same thing applies to a Jew from Eretz Yisrael who goes to Chutz La'aretz. He comes here. He comes to Chutz La'aretz there, and he is supposed to keep the rules of Eretz Yisrael, which means that on the 8th day of Pesach, he's not allowed to daven the undertakers from Israel. He must put on tefillin. It should be done, preferably the tzina, hidden. Especially, he's not allowed to do work. He go riding in a car, or to show himself openly doing work, or chas v'shalom eating chametz in front of other Jews. This must be done hiddenly only. This is simple, but the question, of course, arises: at which point? When exactly is it considered that a lachser or that a lachser? A person visits for a week, for a month, or then he goes for a year. He goes to study. Or a person ready to sell comes here to raise money. He has to marry off a child. He has other expenses. He comes to raise money for a yeshiva, for an organization. He comes here to stay for a while. How long is he staying for? He doesn't know. It's indefinite. Here you have a shayla as to whether this is legally data lachsa or not. Because data lachsa, first thing you say, he comes here, and everybody's data lachsa. Every Jew in the world is data lachsa, because we weren't so we have intention to go back. We're ready any minute, but we don't know when. That's not considered legal data lachsa. There are a lot of shaylas in Halacha, and a lot of shaylas in Jewish, and a lot of machlekes about this, but the Halacha Psukkah would seem, not an authority to say, but this is what I've heard from Gedalim too, and this is what seems obvious, that what determines it is if a person, let's say from Yisrael, goes down to Chutz La'aretz, for whatever reason, he stays an indefinite period of time, can be even half a year, but rather than come here himself to spend this time, he takes his wife with him, he gets an apartment or a place to stay, even though he has a definite intention of going back within a year, even bought a ticket that's a round-trip ticket, so he has a intention to go back and the ticket expires within a year, still he is considered Ein Dat Elachsa. As long as he has his family with him and he's living here, that's it. If he goes back, fine, he goes back to the rules of Eretz Yisrael. But if his family is with him, that's it. Of course, if he goes for a tourist trip with his family to visit, it's understood. But he moves here, stays because he, no matter how short a time it is, but he lives here now for that period of time, he must adopt the customs of the place he's going to. So he applies the person going to Israel too, naturally. There's a second shayla, Halacha, that comes up. Here again, it's a very controversial topic. The person from Chutz La'aretz goes to Israel for Yentei. On the 8th day of Yentei, let's say he comes out on Monday. It's possible, it happens rarely, but it's possible. He's out on Monday, the 8th day Yentei. So, if he's on Monday, they're going to the lane. And it's a weekday, they're going to lane. They're going to lane the Pasha of the week. And this Jew, who comes from Chutz La'aretz, his Kriyas HaTorah is the Pasha of Pesach, called Chet. So, the question is, are they allowed to give him an aliyah for a Pasha which is not his? Nothing to do with him. It's a weekday Pasha, and he is now a Jew who's supposed to lay Shabbos take a Pasha. Actually, the same thing comes up very often on the summertime in Yisrael. We find it often because we have 2 days Shavuos. For instance, this year we'll have the problem. Shavuos is Friday and Shabbos, which means that on Shabbos Shavuos we lay the Pasha for Shavuos. We're going to lay Aser Aser, while in Yisrael Shabbos already is after Shavuos. They're going to lay the Pasha of the week. The following week we're going to have 2 different Pashas. There'll be 1 Pasha ahead of us. So they have 2 Pashas combined, and they combine them, and as we combine them, and they separate them so that we coincide again. The question is, could a person here get an aliyah there, since it is not his Pasha? Or that, of course, he catches up to them. He's not going to send it twice, and so on. But the case where a person goes there to, it's not as Pasha in the case of Torah, for example, you have it all over. Many times the problem comes up. The thing is, the Halacha, the final one is that a person could get an aliyah. It's allowed to get an aliyah even though it's not his Pasha. He goes to say that itself as Kaddish, and he called for an aliyah to any Pasha at all. Now this is all cases of moving, switching. The right thing is, the proper thing is that every Jew should be Oila and not Yodeh. Every Jew should be Oila to Yisrael, Oila to Atzin HaGadesha, to go back home. That is our home, that's the home that Hashem has given us. And then home we look forward to coming back to for this Pesach. And the next Mikdash will take will be instantaneous. It does not take long to build it. Originally, the others took a very long time, years. This Mikdash will take only a second, less than a second, because Hashem himself will build it. We hope to have the space of Mikdash immediately so we can go and bring the Pesach this year. We ask you to make very important shir today, brief but very important, very vital. We not cover dinner with Chalamay. Pesach, Yontif, Chalamay. There are 2 items that we spoke about very often, but need review. There's always in Besmedish Chiddush, always something new to pick up in it. First, the fact that we find today certain Peskim who give a tailor on certain items, and some of them are amazing how they can take that risk. This is something I've never been able to fathom. In the other day we find the Vad Abba Arotzos, which is the 4 countries, the chief rabbis of 4 countries got together a few hundred years ago. Chief rabbis of 4 countries. They made a combine as powerful as a Sanhedrin could be. They declared a chaylim against shaving on Chalamayid. This is a long and whole page of a discussion about this shaila, where one man came before them, the problem that if he doesn't shave for 3 days in succession, his face breaks out in boils and rashes, and it's not a question of sakonis nefashos. But they had a sitting on this, the Supreme Court. They decided better he should suffer, even in the case of sakonis nefashos, rather than to break this chayim. However, the final decision was that they would allow him to literally stay in solitary confinement, be locked up in a room, and spend Chalamayid there, plus the last 2 days of Yom Tov, away from everyone. He cannot go to daven, the shul or anything. He handed his food through a window on top, whatever prison, no one should see him. So strict was the sign. Then the wording used about how the Isser was a Isser Chalor, so severe, so intense, that it frightens one to think of breaking this Isser. Today, a very mild lashon on the part of some who write that it's necessary, this doesn't mean in case a person is dying, that's what it is in case a person feels that he wants to, it's sufficient reason. So, this is something that I cannot understand and I cannot comment on. I can only say that to each his own, which one can choose. So that, at least we'd say, today, if we stress this point, if it's possible, anybody, not to shave a Chalamayid, not shave a, remove yourself from a very grave situation. If it's impossible, and fortunately you have those poskim today who are big enough to rely on, I suppose, and they have his attention. The person has to go to business and it's a question of his job. And of course, probably it's enough. It warrants enough because after all there is a deal that a person is not required to give up his earnings, his money, or a percentage of his earnings for the sake of a mitzvah. We really can't say anything about it, just that he said there are places enough to rely on, but only if you know that this is definitely a very serious situation where literally the job depends upon it. That's one item. The second item is talking about life depending upon it. We have a strange case of the question of tefillin, Chalamayid. But just a reminder, before we go into that, we learned in the Gemara recently that one can lose his Olam Haba, Chas v'Shalom. This is so serious, mortal life. Olam Haba is Gan Eden, if he disrespects Chalamayid by wearing weekday clothes. It's an important reminder that Chalamayid is supposed to get dressed the same as Yom Tov. We see proof that Chalamayid throughout, the shtragel is worn. It's a symbol of tribal power, which proves that it's a major any excuse. So, Chalamayid, the person must wear his Yom Tov clothes to show that he does not disregard or little Chas v'Shalom as part of the Yom. Now, as far as Torah is concerned, we come to a strange predicament. Or a problem that where we have two sides in this issue. We have the Chaber who says that you're not allowed to wear Tefillin Chalamayid. The Chaber is all Sfardim. And the other side you have the Ramah who says that Tefillin should be worn Chalamayid. We do find though that even the Snagdim, the Litvaks that follow the Ramah, even among them you find a different faction also. You find that Villi Goyen, who's one of the heads of them, states emphatically that it's forbidden to pronounce Tefillin Chalamayid. Therefore, there must be a difference. It's not divided into these two regular cases. So there's something else. Something else is the Zayda Kodesh, which states, Shulchan Arizal was asked about this question. Tefillin Chalamayid, Zayda Kodesh said that Tefillin is the crown of the king. But Tefillin is the stamp, the copy of the king's crown. We wear a copy of the king's crown. But when we have the original king's crown, that's Yom Tov Chalamayid, of course it would be sacrilegious, or it would be a major crime against the king to disregard his crown and wear a copy of the crown. So therefore, a servant the slave of the king is given his copy of his crown. And then he's told, now here's the real crown. He retains the copy, and he is surely put to death. That's what the Zohar says. Therefore, one who puts on tefillin and chal hamed, Moshe is chayiv misa. Death penalty of putting on tefillin and chal hamed. It's a very sharp statement. That you cannot take so lightly. Surely Arizal is definitely according to all. No one will deny that he's the greatest, one of the greatest. The Chazal, the Rabbi of the Gemara. His word is din, in many cases, except that it has din, or at least when there's no one to refute, no one to argue against his statement, then surely you have to accept it. There's no one anywhere in the Gemara who argues this point. Come on, you have, of course, this brings a shadow, but in general, if even there is, or to a certain shadowh, a seeming argument, but when you get a word like chayiv misa, death penalty, has to show that we can't buck that. So the question is then, how come we have two sides? Now again, we see that Vilna Gaon Zal Haskins like the Chaver, but the Vilna Gaon says, Shuri Chazal says chayiv misa, nobody's misnagging against that. So therefore, we don't put on tefillin. How come the Ramah and other Achleinim follow? They go against the din? The answer is that there are the Shenim, specifically one of the first Shenim, the head Shenim, who says that you must put on tefillin and chal hamed. And since he says that, it's difficult to go against the Rishon. Definitely pass like it. Now, in order to pacify the other side, the other factions, they say, well, since din is nigla, and then is not Kabbalah, which is Zohar Kodesh called, but the open Halacha, you always follow Halacha, you have a Shalom din. So there's nigla, you have to wear tefillin, so at least, as a compromise, they will put on tefillin and chal hamed, but they will not say the bracha on the tefillin. So they're not really putting on tefillin to the full extent. At the same time, they're fulfilling the mitzvah, the din of putting on tefillin and chal hamed. This is their way of doing it. There are some who are still more afraid, and even our some, basically, you put on special pair of tefillin without parshas in them. So, it's fact, and this is pretty wild, to say the least. So of course the question is, again, how is this possible? This is something that's inconceivable. Anybody should go against the Zohar Kodesh, no matter what they say, but the Zohar Kodesh says, chayiv misa, you don't take that risk. Truly Chazal sentences a person to death, chas v'shalom. Who's going to take a chance? And what good is it to do to take a chance? Why take that risk? And the question, of course, is how come somebody said against it? The answer is that the Zohar Kodesh was in this Gala, it was revealed around the time of the Arizal, around that time, a little bit before. The Yerushalmi lived much before this. At the time of the Yerushalmi, the Zohar Kodesh was not known. Since it was unknown, they posek according to the so they said that you have to put on tefillin. But definitely, had they seen the Zohar Kodesh, there's no doubt that they would never make a mistake. This is what is the obvious answer. And the attest to write something very interesting shot. The shaila about brings it to the halachas, Sefer Torah. How do you say? You have a shaila about certain letters, the way they're written. And then you have, what are the Aharon? We're carefully not mentioning the names because you don't want to get the wrong impression. One of the Aharon makes a statement about the way this word, this item should be printed in Sefer Torah, and it says, this is an Aharon, we saw this in Kodesh, and it makes a statement that says that as long as din is this way, then you cannot follow except the Zohar Kodesh. Completely not to follow it in a very strong, harsh statement. So that's something we follow, unless you must follow the England. Tennessee writes that no doubt about this Aharon, who was now in Gan Eden, surely has learned the truth, has retracted it, and is now up the upper Gan Eden, deserving his just rights of being so great a tzadik, but with the better knowledge that he had before. What is the reason that Isachar and others are misled? Therefore, the Yisir is very Kodesh. So it says the Yisir is that the Zohar Kodesh is a sefer nistif, it's a hidden sefer. Nobody can understand a sefer. It's the unknown. It's the unknown factor. And therefore, it is something that is dark. Not dark, it's light. It's dark in the sense that the Kesed Elyon is dark, we say, because if something, if something is very light, it's so bright, we say that the sun at its brightest is dark. You can't see because it's so bright. You look at it, your eyes become blinded. Because of the great brightness, it becomes dark. That's a Zohar condition, which is intense light. You cannot see into it. But what gave us an insight, clearness of the Zohar condition? Arizal came and wrote his sefer on the Zohar condition. He opened up all the gates, all the doors to the Zohar condition. It says this one point, interesting, sharp word. So this is what Shimshon is really a gem. We don't understand, but at least to us, before we can. Shimshon asked the riddle of the Philistines. He said to them, "What is sweeter than? What is that is powerful? From this something powerful comes forth sweet. Sweet coming from power." And with this riddle, because of this riddle, he was able to destroy the enemies of the Jews. The Philistines died, they killed for this. What was the answer to this riddle? Honey coming from a lion. So it says that this is what's meant by there is honey that cannot be attained, because who dare to go into the hive of bees and get stung and not be able to enjoy it? But if this honey is released and there is a power that is so great, it is the power of a lion, which stands for chavruta, plus force, Arya and lions, Yamate chavruta. This great power of a lion, which contains this honey, that gives this honey, who could dare to... But the lion wasn't distributing this honey, and of course the honey is in its purest form. So now this honey that was unattainable was the extreme sweetness of the Zohar Kodesh. The sweetness of the Sidus, heard many times, Baruch Hashem, the gems that come from Kabbalah, which open the door, open the gates, put on a light, certain place in the Gemara, which we cannot understand until the Zohar Kodesh explains it. But we cannot understand the Zohar Kodesh at all until Arizal came and he put the light on for us. So the Arizal, this lion, gave the honey of the Zohar Kodesh. On the Arizal came this honey of the Zohar Kodesh, which now could be tasted and eaten with relish, to feel the delicious depth of this Zohar Kodesh. Because these Yaakov did not see the Arizal. Of course, the Risha did not see the Zohar Kodesh, but therefore we can understand why they didn't accept, why they didn't know about this. But at the same time, we have to say, Ashreinu, we were Zohar to receive this honey from the lion. We can learn today these Sidus, these gems, from the mouth of the lion. And of course, that's why we have the Arizal, we have the Moshe Kodesh, R Nosson, we have this great lineage, pure chain, the holiest chain, with this halacha coming to us clearly as halacha, that children of Chalamayit should not be worn. Of course, they are the crown, copy of the crown of the king, because Chalamayit is the crown of the king itself. So assure that our custom is pure one, the honey of the lion, and we don't wear tefillin without parshas. We carry on us the crown of Hashem, Hashem. We should observe it, to carry this crown proudly, always. That the crown is finally placed by the king, Mashiach, lead us into Gula Shlema. Now, there's still time now, we have a Gula Shlema. It will be the coming of Mashiach now. The Beis HaMikdash by Hashem himself. Zeh the Reinu Pesach this year, Continuing Hilchos Pesach, the Hilchos Seder. The Seder night, the Gemara says a person should seek out the best quality wine that he could find for the mitzvah of the Abad Kaisis. Best quality wine means something that's, we'll say, what's the best thing? Something which is out of this world. Right? Gan Eden wine is the best wine out. The wine should be, preferably, red wine and not white wine. Unless the white wine is of good quality, but normally the red wine is better because there's a posek